So thank you so much for joining me. I posted a TikTok yesterday about T visas, and yesterday during this video that I posted, I said if you have been working for a boss who has been threatening you with immigration, they make jokes about your status, and you feel scared of your boss, you feel intimidated by your boss, you may be eligible to apply for a T visa and get status in the US without having to leave. And this is really a sort of miracle visa for people who don't have a legal entry, for people who might have a permanent bar, who don't have any US citizen family members to petition for them, who don't have an employer who's going to petition for them. This is really one of those miracle visa scenarios that can help thousands and thousands and thousands of immigrants, except for the fact that a lot of people don't know what this visa is. And I got some comments yesterday saying that, oh, well, what kind of evidence do you need? I don't have any proof that my boss did this to me. And here is the thing. You don't actually need any proof for this, because the evidence standard that was created by law is any credible evidence. That means that the most important thing for a T visa case is actually your affidavit, your well-detailed statement explaining exactly how you may have fallen prey to this scenario, why you felt pressured by your boss, why you felt threatened by them, why you fell prey to their false promises and to their fraudulent schemes into doing that work. That is the most important thing for a T visa. And in fact, you don't really need any proof. You don't really need proof that you work there. You don't really need proof that they made these things. Somebody suggested on my TikTok yesterday that, oh, well, you could secretly record your boss. Well, yes, you could definitely secretly record your boss if you want to, but you don't even need to do that. You don't even need to secretly record your boss. You really just need a good legal team that knows how to explain your case, that knows how to interview you to explore exactly how this happened, how you were in a situation where your boss was threatening you, was compelling you, was basically forcing you into doing work for them, not because you really wanted to. That's the most important thing in a T visa case. And also just keep in mind, you can get a T visa approved even if you worked for this boss like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This is still possible. And the government does not expect you to have proof, but the government does expect you to have a good legal statement to explain how this happened. And sometimes you might get, you might be able to do things like a psychological evaluation. You might be able to get certain services to prove your case, but you don't even really need to go that far, okay? So if you have been in a situation, if you did work for somebody where you were not feeling like you were free to leave, you were not feeling like you had a freedom of choice, a freedom of movement, security and safety inside of your job because of the way that your bad boss, your bad toxic boss treated you, then this is a scenario that we want to help you with, okay? We want to fight for you. We want to help you with this case. We want you to help you get you legal status, okay? So if you want to give us a call, you can give us a call at 212-248-7907. This is something that we would love to talk to you and ask you some more questions and give you a case evaluation, okay? All right, so let's see. I have a question from Danilo who's asking, I have a I-75 extension letter. Is it safe to travel? From Danilo. Danilo, thank you for your question. So if you have a 2-year residency card and you have filed your I-751 to extend your 2-year residency to get the 10-year card, when you have your original receipt, it's like a green receipt with that original receipt. This receipt by itself is an official US document that will extend your residency status, your green card, by 4 years. And yes, you can travel with this, but you also need your expired green card. However, here is sometimes what happens. A lot of airlines may not recognize what this green receipt is. Sometimes you can actually get a stamp in your passport called an I-551 stamp, but you have to make an appointment at InfoPass, but it's not required, especially if you are flying with, I would say, US-based airlines like American Airlines. They're usually going to be very familiar with this thing, okay? All right, let's see what questions I have. Thank you for joining. I'm a citizen. I would like to sponsor my 36-year-old sister, from Abby. Abby, that's a great way. If you're a U.S. citizen and you want to sponsor your sibling, can you sponsor your sibling? And the answer is yes, you could. However, it's going to take like 15 to 20 years. And also, if your sibling is inside the US, they're out of status, they're undocumented, they're not going to be able to fix their status inside the US through you. They would have to leave the US and go for consular processing. And that can also create a whole bunch of problems, like maybe they have a 10-year bar to reentering, so they might need a waiver for that, okay? So yes, if you're a US citizen and you want to sponsor your sibling, you can. However, number one, it's going to take 15 to 20 years. Number two, if they're already inside the US, you're not really going to be able to fix them like that. Okay. It doesn't work like that. There's like additional steps that need to be taken. However, if you have a sibling who's in the US, they are without status, they don't have anyone else that can sponsor them except you, this is the time to look to see what else they qualify for that does not require a family petition. Because the way that the immigration law is set up, family petitions are very, very narrow and specific, and they're so segmented, and they make things so difficult. And it's just not possible for the majority of people to even regularize and fix their status, even if they have a U.S. citizen relative. So in those cases, what we like to do is we like to see if persons qualify for anything not requiring a family petition, including a U visa or a T visa. Now, a U visa is very common. A U visa is going to be if you or maybe even your child has ever been the victim of a serious crime that you have reported and you've cooperated with law enforcement, we can try for a U visa for you. But the U visa, it does take almost 10 years at this point to get status through a U visa. So what we also like to look for is something called a T visa, and the T visa is going to help people who have worked in a toxic environment. If you have ever worked in a toxic boss, a racist boss, a discriminatory boss, a boss that screams at you, that yells at you, that threatens you with immigration, that doesn't pay you properly, that doesn't pay you overtime, that doesn't let you take breaks, that does not let you take lunches, that calls you, like a dumb immigrant, like they make threats to you, they make you feel depressed and sad and like you're low, then those might be situations through which you can fix your status through something called the T visa, okay? 212-248-7907. Yes, you can ask a question. I'm a parent who wants to do a VAWA case. How old does my child need to be to apply from Juan? Juan, great question. If you are the parent of a 21-year-old US citizen child who has been basically emotionally abusing you, they scream at you, they curse you out, they run away from home, they force you to pay for everything, they force you to work for them basically sometimes. We've had situations where we have filed VAWA cases for parents who work with their kids. And think about it this way. If you have been in the country for 20, 30 years, you've been without status, and you live in a state where you can't get a driver's license, you can't open a bank account, and you rely on your child to cash your checks, to put money into deposit for you, to translate for you, to interpret for you, and that child doesn't really want to help you, and they give you a hard time, and they scream at you all the time, they yell at you, they throw things around the house. These are situations that can really, really negatively impact you, right? Especially if you are from a country where traditionally we hold our parents in high esteem, right? We hold our parents in high esteem, we respect them, and it's expected that when you're the mother or the father that you listen, that your kids listen to you, right? But instead you're here all of a sudden, and like your kid is calling you a wetback, telling you to go back, telling you that you're inutil, like things like that. Those are situations through which we can help you apply for VAWA as a parent of a 21-year-old US citizen. So your child needs to be at least 21 years old. If they're older than that, that's okay. If they're younger than that and you're going through this, then I would say save my number, because maybe this is something that we might be able to help you with in the future. Now, the number one thing that parents who want to file for VAWA, that are afraid to file for VAWA, is they feel that it's going to hurt their child. If you have a 21-year-old US citizen child who has been un hijo rebelde, right? They've been just giving you super, super bad behavior, abusive behavior, but you don't want to file for VAWA because you feel like it's going to affect your child. Well, the good news is that number one, this is totally confidential, totally private. Your child won't even know that you applied. Number two, it does not actually affect your child. And I want to shift your mindset. I want to help you think for yourself right now, because I want you to, when you're a parent in the US, everything you do is for your child. You have literally left your country to be here to provide for a better future for your children and your family, and you sacrifice everything for your kids, right? So it must feel very bad to be in that position where you're like, okay, maybe the only way I can get legal status is by doing this case, but I don't want to because I love my child, right? That's okay. Of course you love your child, but it's also true that sometimes the people you love most hurt you the most. And if you are without status, you're living every day in danger of deportation. And especially if you have other kids that you want to take care of, you really have to start thinking of yourself and how you can secure your future, okay? And if you want to explore this case, you can give us a call at 212-248-7907. Okay, let's see. We have a lot of questions today. Noe Isaac, good morning. After the approval of a U visa, can we fight for compensation for being a victim of horrific gun violence? From Noe Isaac. Noe Isaac, I'm so sorry that happened to you. So yeah, of course. And you don't have to wait for your U visa to be approved. If you have been the victim of violence and you're trying to get compensation, you're trying to sue the people who hurt you, you can do that. You don't have to wait for your U visa to be approved, okay? My wife received immigrant visa interview with 21 category. So Manav, yes, if your spouse goes for their interview and based upon marriage to you and you're a green card holder, but by the time they get approved or by the time they come to the U.S., you've become a U.S. citizen, then can they apply for citizenship in 3 years? And the answer is, the rule for applying for citizenship in 3 years is one of two things. Number one, either you get your green card through VAWA, or if you have gotten your green card through the regular normal marriage petition. If you've been married and living with your spouse who's a U.S. citizen for a minimum of 3 years, then you can apply for U.S. citizenship a little bit more earlier, okay? How long is the interview going to take after VAWA is approved? Locations in Tampa. Thank you from Alex. Alex, what I would say is that what we are seeing in our office is that after a client gets their I-360 VAWA approved, within 6 months or less, usually they're getting their green card, or we're receiving notification for an interview for their green card, okay? So Tampa, Tampa is kind of a slower jurisdiction, but what I also think is that, the more quiet jurisdictions, sometimes they like to give an interview more. So it's very likely that you might get called in for an interview in Tampa. Okay, Alex, I hope that helps. Do you think we're going to be able to file for parole in place and work permit at the same time, or the parole in place will need to be approved first and then apply for a work permit? From Antonio Garcia. Antonio, I think that you're going to have to get the parole in place approved first. And then once that's approved, then you can apply for the I-485, because even though the parole in place has been announced, that doesn't, there's no changes that have been made to the I-485. So for the I-485 application for adjustment of status or your actual green card application, you have to show that you have a legal entry or a parole into the country in order to qualify. So I'm not too sure 100% exactly what the process will be. Maybe there might be a strategy where you apply for parole in place together with your I-485, but generally speaking, historically speaking, the parole in place takes longer to approve. And usually you have to, you probably strategically speaking, you'll want to do that first before you apply for that. So the work permit is still going to it's going to be pushed back further because of that reason, okay? My wife for the 9 months is not letting me talk to or meet my daughter. She created a restraining order that is untruthful. The court did not accept anything she filed. And So Tajul, if your wife, if you're married to a U.S. citizen who is fighting you in court, right? You're separated, you're going through divorce, they don't let you talk to your child, they won't let you see your child, they file a restraining order against you. However, the court is rejecting it, because sometimes what many people might do, unfortunately, is they might file fake restraining orders against you. They might make fake charges and fake allegations against you. And, when these tactics are actually tactics of abuse. So if your U.S. citizen spouse is doing that to you, you really should look into filing for VAWA, and we would love to help you with that, okay? 212-248-7907. Now, for me, one of the most toxic things that, in a couple that is having problems, one of the worst things that can happen is when you threaten to take the kids away, right? Especially, if you're the one who has no legal status, no green card, no nothing, right? And you're here undocumented, you have no protection. And if your husband or wife says, I'm taking the kids away, you're never going to see them again. If you divorce me, I'm going to take them away. I'm going to make your life miserable. When you hear those words, it's like a stab in the heart. And you feel very, very powerless when that happens, because you're undocumented and you automatically feel like your spouse has more power. And when that happens to you, then I want you to know that, number one, you do still have parental rights no matter what your legal status is, okay? However, if you're without status, it's time to call us at 212-248-7907, because we need to look to see if we can help you file for VAWA. How long do you take to wrap up a T visa after biometrics from Lovely? Lovely, I don't know the exact time after biometrics, but overall T visas are about 1.5 years approximate total processing time. Desde Montes, Jenny, ¿se puede aplicar para una visa T si tengo 2 salidas voluntarias? Jenny, sí, para la visa T no hay requerimientos. Una persona que tiene una orden de deportación o que tienen salidas, no importa si las salidas son voluntarias o involuntarias, ¿sí? La visa T es una aplicación, es la mejor para esos tipos de situaciones, porque podemos aplicar para el visa T y después, recibiendo la aprobación de visa T, podemos ir al corte para dar una aplicación para cancelar el orden de deportación, ¿ok? Jenny, puede llamarnos a 212-248-7907, ¿ok? Astrid, I'm not able to prove an abortion he made me go through. Does that affect my petition from Astrid? Astrid, no. Don't worry about it. So when you apply for VAWA, people think that you have to give clear and convincing evidence. You don't have to. It's just any credible evidence for a VAWA case. Okay, 212-248-7907. Okay. How long does it take for NVC to reply? From Joel. NVC can take anywhere from 30 days to 3 months to reply to you. How can I make an appointment with you? From Love Maries. Love Maries, you can call us to make an appointment with us. You have to call us at 212-248-7907. This is our only phone number. There are imposters out there saying to call on WhatsApp or Telegram. We don't have WhatsApp. We don't have Telegram. Please don't listen to those scammers. Our only phone number is 212-248-7907. But it must be like, call us, okay? And then we'll ask you some questions, okay? Got my marriage certificate now. What? From Treshan. If you got your marriage certificate and you're wanting to apply, then you just have to give us a call, 212-248-7907. Can the T visa work for family members? And do family have to go to court or know about the case? From Lakshmi, 911. Lakshmi, so yes, okay. The T visa is great for helping for you. If you apply for a T visa, you can also get T visa status for your minor children as well as your spouse. But did you know that through a T visa, sometimes we can even help your children over 21 or even your parents get T visa status? We do have to do a little bit more work and show like how your spouse, your parents or your adult children might be affected by your trafficker. But no, they don't have to know about the case, but when they get approved and they have to go through additional processing, they're going to know by the category that, it's a T visa. So, all right. I've been married to a U.S. citizen and I've been documentarily qualified since January 2024. Prior to December 2022, visa class IR1. When should I expect an interview? From Edmund. Edmund, I would say your interview is going to be anywhere from, it could be within 6 months to a year and a half, depending on which consulate you're going through, because the consulates have different timelines and different amounts of backlog, okay? What if NVC is closing my case because I did not respond to them in 30 days? Would I have to start over again to file for my wife from Juan? Juan, sometimes you can ask for a reinstatement of your case, but if it's too much time has passed, then yeah, you might have to start over again. Imad, I have a problem. I'm stuck with my case. I did come here with the fiance visa, and when I got here, I want to apply for adjustment of status, but I couldn't because they're asking about sponsor and I can't apply. If you have come into the country with a fiance visa, one of the number one rules that you have to follow is that you have to get married to your sponsor who brought you in on a fiance visa. Because if you don't, then you won't be able to do adjustment of status through other ways. But a lot of times, like once you're here on a fiance visa, you may not be able to get married to that person because that person becomes abusive or controlling, or you do get married to them and they don't want to apply for you, right? They just want to keep you here and torture you emotionally and mentally and physically, and they don't want to apply for your green card. When that happens to you, if you came in on a fiance visa and you married the petitioner, but they won't file for you, and they also treat you horribly, and your life becomes totally different than what you thought it would be. Like, like let's say you came in on a fiance visa and your husband or your wife told you that, yeah, everything will be, beautiful, marvelous. We'll have this house. You'll have this life. I'm going to take care of you. But then you come here and it's like they don't let you leave the house, or they make you work all the time. They become nasty to you. They become aggressive with you. These situations usually indicate to me that you might have an abusive relationship, an emotionally abusive relationship, if not physically abusive relationship, and we may be able to do VAWA for you, okay? But what happens if you never marry your fiance? Well, then really you're not really going to be able to do any sort of a VAWA case, or even a VAWA. Yeah, you won't be able to do a marriage case or a VAWA case, even if you marry somebody else in the future. And for those situations, you want to look to see if a T visa or a U visa or asylum might work for you, okay? So you can give us a call, 212-248-7907. Tyler, my VAWA was approved. I filed at 21 as an abused child, but my lawyer told me that she can't file my adjustment yet, but it's my US citizen. I'm confused. Tyler, I'm confused too. So I'm confused too. So I think if you Tyler, okay, so if you filed exactly at age 21, then that means you're no longer considered a child in immigration law, and now you have to look at the priority dates. That's probably what it means, Tyler. So if you filed your VAWA at age 21, you use an exception for VAWA for a child who can still file between ages 21 to 25. But that does not mean that you're considered an immediate relative, Tyler. It still means that you have to look at the priority dates, and that's probably what your lawyer is talking about. Take a look at your petition. I'll look at the approval category, and then go look up the visa bulletin, and then you can take a look there, okay? But congratulations, Tyler, on getting VAWA approved. USCIS keeps transferring my I-485 to different field offices where they're not my home state after my I-360 got approved. No update. Love, you're probably confused about why that's happening. So if the I-485 is being transferred, that means that they're probably trying to get your I-485 processed as quickly as possible. That's what I think. Okay, love, but hang in there. Don't stress out too much about that. Okay. People get very stressed out when their case gets transferred from here to there in immigration, but it doesn't really mean anything. It just means that sometimes they're trying to redistribute the workload between immigration offices to make it faster for you. Now, whether in reality your case actually gets approved faster, that's that remains to be seen. Can I file for divorce as my VAWA is pending from Nico Live? So Nico, yes, if you are filing for VAWA, so here's something that you must understand. When you file for VAWA, there is no requirement for you to stay married or for you to get divorced. People think that you have to stay married or that you have to get divorced. People think that you're not allowed to get divorced when you do VAWA. That's not true. There's some attorneys that might tell you to wait to get divorced until after the VAWA is approved, but my opinion is, why make you suffer through that emotional strain of staying married to somebody who has been hurting you for additional 2 to 3 years and you can't move on with your life? Now, so I tell my clients that it's your option, it's your life, it's your decision to do what you think is best. Whether you want to stay married or get divorced, it's up to you. However, here's 2 things to consider. Number one, if you get divorced and your VAWA is not approved, then you would have a deadline of, if you wanted to file for VAWA a second time, of 2 years to apply. Okay. Number 2, you must remember that if you are filing for VAWA as a spouse of a U.S. citizen or as a green card holder, you cannot get remarried to anybody else. Don't make that mistake that you remarry somebody while your VAWA case is pending, because it's pending for so long. Because the minute you get married, and if your I-360 is not yet approved, then your I-360 will automatically get denied when they find out, okay? Because remarriage to anyone is going to invalidate your eligibility for VAWA, okay? But after your I-360 is approved, you can get married. It's not really usually a problem, okay? But you have to wait for the I-360 to get approved. Jan Creations, can I apply for a U visa even when police report was closed, but there's a police report and hospital report? From Jan Creations. Jan Creations, you can. However, keep in mind that when you apply for a U visa, one of the most important things is that we have to get law enforcement to sign a certification. And if the investigation was closed a long time ago, then that becomes harder and they may not want to do that. So yes, you can still apply for a U visa even if the police report is closed and the investigation is closed, but it may create more of a difficulty in getting the certification. And if we cannot get the certification, then we can't file for a U visa, okay? And Jan Creations, if you feel like that's gonna happen, just give us a call, because maybe we can do a T visa for you. Let's hear what's happened to you in your life, okay? 212-248-7907. While in asylum, are you supposed to maintain non-immigrant status? From Zuleika. Zuleika, you don't have to, but if you do maintain non-immigrant status, then if your asylum does not get approved, then you won't automatically get put into removal court. Master Uragan, who's asking a question about adoption. I can't answer that because I don't really know much about the adoption. Under PIP, isn't married if you have to be before June 2024, can get married after. From HPetsGo. For the new Biden parole in place rule that's been announced, one of the most important requirements that they have said is that you have to be married on or before June 17th. So if you get married after June 17th, then it does not seem that you will be eligible for the new parole in place. But that's okay. Like, let's see if we can help you with something else, okay? Marlon Butler, help. I married a U.S. citizen, but I came over illegally 15 years ago. What can I do? From Marlon Butler. Marlon Butler, give us a call, 212-248-7907. Now, if you came in illegally, but you're married to a U.S. citizen, number one, you may still be able to get your papers without having to leave through something called VAWA, especially where your relationship is chaotic, it's toxic, it's problematic, you're having a lot of difficulties with your spouse, they're just controlling, they're abusive verbally or emotionally or physically, okay? But if that does not apply to you, then you can wait to see if parole in place will help you when it's made official later this year. Can I do a VAWA case even if my wife went in the court for annulment? From Rebecca, or from Rebel 2023. Rebel 2023, if your marriage has been annulled, then you no longer qualify for VAWA. So if your spouse is going to court asking for an annulment, you have to fight that annulment. If you don't fight that annulment and your marriage gets annulled, then you will no longer qualify for VAWA. Sunny, I got scammed with your fake number. I'm sorry. It's not my fake number. It's other people's fake numbers. And I'm sorry that happened to you, but there's not much I can do about that. ¿Qué pruebas necesita para visa T? Si alguien no me quiere pagar mi trabajo, soy contratista. Jenny, no necesita ningún prueba para su caso de visa T, porque en la visa T la cosa más importante es su declaración. Porque en su declaración vamos a contar su historia con este patrón y la situación muy tóxica en su trabajo. Y esta cosa es la cosa más importante. No necesitamos más prueba más que esta declaración. ¿Ok? Jenny, puede llamarnos a 212-248-7907. Y tenemos una precio de $150 para la evaluación. Necesito estar viviendo con mi esposa para el nuevo PIP. No sé, pero cuando estamos trabajando en un caso de matrimonio para residencia, necesitamos probar que su matrimonio es real, ¿sí? Es real. Y una cosa que inmigración piensen es que si dos esposas no viven juntos, la matrimonio no puede ser real, ¿sí? So, yo creo que sí, es muy importante que ustedes viven juntos para un caso de residencia desde su matrimonio. Okay. How long after VAWA approval can you apply for citizenship? John, 3 years. Okay. Do I qualify for anything if I was robbed at gunpoint from Jasmine? Jasmine, yes, you probably qualify for a U visa. And if you were robbed at gunpoint, the most important thing is that you must have reported it to police and cooperated with them in any sort of investigation. Robbery at gunpoint is going to be basically a felony level. It's going to be a felony level charge with a dangerous weapon. So yes, I would love to see if we can help you with that. Okay. 212-248-7907. How long will it take to get a green card after filing for VAWA? It takes about 3.5 years. Nima, we are not taking asylum cases right now. Jessica Del Valea, I'm a U.S. citizen. My husband has one voluntary removal back in 2010, and he came back in 2011. We've been married since 2015. Will he apply for the new parole in place? Jessica, it sounds like your husband might have the permanent bar. And if he has a permanent bar, my opinion is that for the PIP, it's not going to help people with the permanent bar. But if your husband has a permanent bar, give us a call. Maybe we could see if we can help him with something else, okay? 212-248-7907. All right, guys. Let's see. Flourishing in life. Does immigration send a specific letter in the mail after the I-130 is denied, or just leave the country themselves from flourishing in life? Flourishing in life, if your case is denied, usually immigration will send you a letter telling you the denial, and sometimes they also say that you're not allowed to stay in the U.S. and that you have to leave in 30 days. But that's where you have to kind of take matters into your own hand and see if you can appeal your case or see if you can apply for something else. So sometimes that letter, like just because they send the letter doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be removed. People either try to fight that or they would leave of their own self. They're not always going to try to come and, capture you to make you leave. But in some cases, like in some more aggressive immigration offices around the country, when they do deny certain cases, sometimes they will send the letter to, send your case to the ICE to start the removal process. And even if they start the removal process, it could take between 2 to 5 years to actually finish that case in court. And during this time, don't give up. Don't give up, okay? There might be other things that are available to you, okay? So call us 212-248-7907 if you have gotten a denial and you're looking to fight for your way to stay in the country, okay? All right, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. I hope you all have a marvelous day. Again, keep your head up high. Your circumstance right now does not define your worth, okay? Just because you're undocumented or you're struggling or your partner or your boss says that you're not good, you're not smart, that's not true, okay? Keep your head up high. Hope exists, and we want to help you find a way to stay here, okay? And again, our telephone number is 212-248-7907. If you want to talk more with our team is standing by to take your questions and to book you for an appointment, okay? I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.